Hi everyone, and welcome again to Beers and Peers and our hashtag Hospitality Proud interviews. We're doing a series of interviews speaking to all people that have worked in hospitality or currently work in hospitality and have been ever so proud to work in hospitality. Today I am very excited, as always, to be speaking to a very dear friend and an absolute hospitality lover, Natasha. Welcome, Natasha. Cheers.
Cheers. I brought not one, but two. You know me.
Oh, well done. You wouldn't let us down. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
Always. And we are super, super keen to find out all about your kind of hospitality background, how it all started, what you've done throughout the years, and, right up to this point. So yeah, just kickstart us and tell us about the world of hospitality, Natasha.
Brilliant. Thanks, girls. So as you know, I didn't intend to be in hospitality, and I think like quite a lot of us actually, and a lot of our friend group, sort of by chance or by a fleeting moment where you accidentally ended up in that position. I actually studied performing arts. I love a jazz band. So I started at Italia Conti, a school from an art school in London. So that's what brought me down from Scotland. And I worked in hospitality to, pay my way sort of thing while I was at university, and just totally fell in love with it. So when I was looking for acting jobs, I was always working behind a bar as well. So I first started to learn to make some cocktails, and 18 years old and learning how to make my first sort of martini or woo woo actually.
Woo woo.
And as you can see, I'm still a lover of cocktails. That
Love
is
that.
going right through always. And so I accidentally walked into a bar one day and met a
That
girl
does
that
sound like the beginning of a joke, by the way.
Scottish girl walks into a bar. So I met this girl Rachel, and we'd worked together in the same company when I was a bartender at the time, and I'd graduated and didn't have any acting jobs, and she was basically looking for someone to come in as a sales executive or sales manager in one of the bars in the city. And funny enough, what she was doing at the time, it was the height of summer, and there was a Christmas tree up, and she was doing this like, what I would come to end up doing 20, 30, 40, 50 of them myself in the end. She was doing a Christmas showcase and it was blistering hot outside. She's like, Natasha, how are you? I was like, what are you doing? You know what that's like, putting a Christmas tree up in summer.
Oh, indeed. Christmas,
So,
Christmas.
so it literally started from there. I had a drink. She told me a bit about what she was doing and that she was hiring, and it was just right timing, really. So that was when I started working for Novus Leisure. And obviously, that's when I met you and the majority of our friend group, actually. It's
Yeah.
quite a long time ago. I won't show our age. But
Yep.
so I started, I think, as a sales executive there, done really well, and quite quickly I was a sales manager for Novus Leisure. And that is where I learned all of, the bread and butter, the base of everything that helped me go forward in sales and marketing and being able to manage a team. Like I learned so much from working for Novus. It's a shame it's no longer, but as all good things must come to an end. But yeah, so that was my starting. Worked for them for a few years, and then I got an opportunity with another dear friend of ours, Simon Gasky. Moved on to Barracuda Group, which was then called Bramwell, which I think Stonegate now has them all.
There
Um,
you go.
and I worked for Simon Gasky for a few years, and I learned a huge
Total
amount from him.
legend. Yeah.
Absolute legend. I hope he comes on to your talks one day, actually.
So do I. I'll get him on it one day.
So I worked with him for again a few years, and I was area sales manager for London, southeast of England. I had a huge amount of venues, and that really taught me how to look after a team, and that was really a huge next sort of stage of growing part for me. I've been able to manage that amount of venues was bonkers at the time. I was quite young at the time, but
Yeah.
yeah, great learning experience. And then from there, unfortunately, that's when things changed, and they lost all their sales managers. So I was looking for a new role, and I ended up getting an interview for Adventure Bar Group, So I became their head of sales for that company, which was another step up and completely different from anything I'd done before. It was a much more independent, smaller cocktail group, but the passion for cocktails then reignited for me. It was great to sort of be back in that world. And being fairly hands-on of not working with a huge corporation. So then got a real taste of working for smaller businesses then, which being able to put your stamp on things, which was great. That was an incredible experience there. And then from there, I went full cocktails actually, and started working for some companies that I still work with now to this day, ad hoc. Worked for Create Cocktails for a long time, who are still some of my dearest friends are there. Mix and Match, Holy Water, Mix Global, like so many different cocktail companies, which it's just been, they were an amazing part of my journey, and a lot of just seeing a different side to the industry, more of the event side. So that was my sort of introduction to then bigger events and seeing that you could do bigger and much more than just venues. And from there, because of that experience, I was able to get my absolute dream job, which I worked for Peppermint Bar Company, which do pretty much the majority of every UK major music festival in the UK. And I have a huge passion for festivals and music. Coming from my university music sort of background, it was sort of tying in everything, the music, the events, the cocktails. So that was my last, it was amazing. That was an incredible experience. So that was my last huge role. And then I packed everything up and I went off. I went travelling for a while, didn't I? So I spent the last year and a half before all this lockdown travelling. I travelled North America, Central America, and a tiny bit of South America, and ended up living in Colombia for 9 months of it. So that's been my last big adventure, and then now we're locked down. I'm not going anywhere.
Now you're back in Bonnie, Scotland. Amazing. Like your journey and your like experience of hospitality is just amazing, and just listening to you then I was like, wow, that's some incredible things.
It's a bit crazy going from one to the other when you write it all down. I mean, it surprised myself, and I was really thinking about it, like, how did I get from that walking into that bar with a Christmas tree?
Oh my gosh, and I bet you've met just some amazing people along the way.
Oh gosh, absolutely. I mean, you're one of them. Like all my best friends are from this industry. I mean, it's my family, really, you know.
Definitely. So out of all the roles, what would you say was your favorite, or the one that really you woke up in the mornings feeling pumped to go and do, or excited you the most?
It's definitely the festival ones. It's definitely work for Peppermint. It was just everything I could have dreamt of and more. Like the experiences I was afforded, and just being responsible for such huge amounts of numbers of people at these massive shows. And I'm really proud of that. Yeah, it's a really great time in my life.
Fantastic. Oh, so would you say that's been one of your hashtag hospitality proud moments, getting that role?
Absolutely. I do have one other that I will drop in there actually, and it's thanks to Create Cocktails. I got to a couple of races with Williams Racing. So we went to Barcelona Formula One, we went to Monaco Formula One, and I mean, that's the sort of stuff that I couldn't even have dreamt that I would get to do that. Met some of racing drivers, like it's just insane. Like, little secret, got to go in one of the racing cars. Shh, not a secret anymore.
Not a secret. Everyone, shh.
But yeah, that's a big thanks to Create Cocktails for that one.
Oh, fantastic. Isn't it amazing that when you work in such an industry like hospitality, just what it can lead you to and the places that you can see, like, just blows my mind every time I speak to someone and it's like, oh yeah, we went here, we did that, I met so and so, and good old hospitality. I absolutely love it.
You don't really ever think that travel's going to be part of those jobs, but I mean, I've travelled to quite a few places where you work, and it's just, you know, then that's it, from working in a venue to actually think, hold on, I can do so much more than just being in one venue. As much as that is great, there's so much more when you actually think about, you don't think of that when you're going into this job.
gosh, I can't wait until we can all get back at it. So your festivals and pop-ups,
Yeah.
what do you think has either been kind of like the ones that gave you the most or newest skills, or what you've discovered or learned throughout them? Because it really is, I think there's millions of people out there where their dreams would be to work in a festival,
Yeah.
or pop-ups, incredible pop-ups all
Yeah.
over. And you know, what ones really kind of like stick with you, of like what you learned?
Well, first of all, the first thing to say is they're the hardest jobs I've ever done. Like these sort of shows, the size of them and what goes into them is just astounding. The amount of people and skill sets that's needed. I mean, it's a huge variety of people that's needed to put on any of these. Now, the largest scale one, which I was so fortunate. I mean, I was the account manager of British Summertime in Hyde Park
Wow.
for one of the years, and you know, so grateful for the opportunity that Peppermint allowed me to be the account manager on that. And
Yeah.
it was really hard work, but it was, I mean, what goes into it, I mean, it's 65,000 people per show. So it's over 2 weeks, and you do 6 big shows, and then there's small things in between. But 65,000 people that you need to prepare, like I mean, how much beer do you need for 65,000 people? You know? Like, so and then there's the working with, I think working with all the different alcohol companies which come into that. I think that's a huge part of it, the amount of connections and the partnership sort of side,
Yeah.
from doing various festivals and pop-ups, getting that sort of sponsorship, and getting them on side. I think that's a really, really huge part to it. We did a lot of smaller pop-ups on like South Bank and things, which a lot more intimate. I mean, as intimate as you can on South Bank, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And things like Winter Wonderland, a completely different concept from the summer, which is great to give
Wow.
a bit of variety to the role, because it's not just music festivals. At the end of the day, there is the
Yeah.
smaller sort of scale sort of things as well.
Yeah. My God, all of those is just so fabulous. Would you say that your roles as like account manager for
Mm.
British Summertime and some of the pop-ups, that you learnt more of the business side to
Oh,
hospitality?
100%. 100%. So I was responsible of managing the budgets, which is something that I'd done on a smaller scale before.
Mm,
But I mean, I won't go into what the budgets were, but the sheer size of them were
yeah.
pretty astounding. And that sort of side of business and the finance, yeah, the account management basically side was a whole new skill set that I've learned and actually really passionate about. Really learned how good I am at that sort of at the numbers and actually really enjoying it. I think you have to enjoy it with anything to be really good.
Yeah.
You have to really enjoy it, obviously, as well. So it's another string to your bow, I guess, string to my bow with doing that, which I guess working in the venues didn't really afford me as much. After a certain
Yeah.
amount of time, you get quite used to it, don't you? So it's the
Yeah.
next challenge, the next sort of step, which yeah, absolutely, it was great.
Oh, so from learning more about the business, or would you say going back to the sales and marketing aspect, more face to face, what would you say is being kind of like some of the most challenging moments of working in hospitality?
Oh geez, how long have we got, Carly? You know what? I'll take us back to our novice days, Carls.
Yeah.
Challenging moments. Challenging moments is probably Christmas. Christmas. Christmas, where we would book in more people than the venue could probably have, and because you were doing so many sittings and so
Yeah.
many days, and I think the most challenging parts was really the sheer amount of volume at Christmas and
Yeah.
getting things right. When someone's Christmas party, that's their big event of the year. Like, you know,
Yeah.
some of these offices and things, some people that, you know, that's as we say it, you know, the Black Friday at Christmas is where
Yeah.
everyone gets a little bit too drunk, don't they? And that's the people that don't go out all the time. So
Yeah.
we're really catering for people that this is so important to them that I think sometimes maybe there's times that I think a lot of us have gone through. It's like just forgetting that is their one night out, and oh no, maybe we shouldn't have put them in that sort of area or this sort of area. It's
Yeah.
that sort of responsibility I think you have of that's their Christmas party, and you know,
Yeah,
it's such a big thing. Your Christmas party, you've worked so hard the
it
whole
really
year.
is.
So
Yeah,
yes, I think the challenging thing is getting it right, you know, and I think most of the time we did. I'd like to think that we did, but
definitely.
that's always challenging when you're meeting someone else's expectations.
Yeah, and it is a lot of responsibility for hospitality, no matter what role in hospitality is that
Mm,
we do create memories and experiences for
oh,
people,
absolutely,
whether that's someone having a pint after work or someone celebrating their 50th birthday. It all happens
that's
in the
it.
confinement of
That's it.
hospitality. Oh my gosh, I love it. It makes me love it even more, even
You
all
know,
the stresses.
I'm feeling like, oh, I'm going to go to the pub.
Me too. Um, Fab. So obviously at the moment it's a pretty tough time with
Yeah,
coronavirus and lockdown, lots of restrictions. How are you finding it yourself? How's
I
it all going
mean,
for you? What's keeping yourself
look,
motivated?
to be really honest, I think the same as everyone else. It's really hard. I think now we're getting
Mm.
into, I don't know what week we're on. Is it week 6? Or I've kind of lost count of what
I
what we're
think
on
it's
just now.
7.
I mean, I think we're all in very different positions. I mean, for myself, I mean, I obviously I've come back from travelling. I've moved back to Scotland. I'm living with my mum and dad in Scotland just now, and I think that I'm so fortunate
Yeah,
because, like a lot of people in hospitality, I mean, I'm one of the few that I don't have an income right now. So luckily, I'm with my family. And there's a lot of people that have been furloughed and things, but then there's the uncertainty of the furlough, and you know, I'm friends with a lot of people that are self-employed or people that have maybe gone self-employed in the last year that don't fit into the category of
yeah,
getting any payments, or you know, I think I'm personally I'm doing okay because I think I'm really lucky. I'm with my parents just now, and I have my sister really close by, and we do
yeah,
social distance walks with my nieces and things like that. So I think I'm really fortunate. I have some family, and I've got a lot of green space around me. So I mean, I don't envy the amount of my friends in London that live in flats that don't have gardens, and you know, or maybe live
yeah,
on their own and things. I think that can be quite difficult. So I mean, me myself, I'm keeping myself busy by speaking to friends quite a lot, you know. I was very active the first few weeks, and I think the last few weeks I've been like a bit nah. I think that's the same as most people, you know. You go through the waves and things, but
yeah,
I think it's important to have to pick up the phone and you know speak to the people that matter the most, and they can really perk you up a little bit, you know, when you're
yeah.
having a bit of a down day.
Yeah, it is. It's all about that communication and, like you say, staying in
Yeah,
contact, picking up the phone, all the Zoom, good old Zoom.
good old Zoom. I wish they would
With
lift
Chris,
that 40 minute though, that 40-minute call. It was longer than 40.
just not long enough. Fab. So, hospitality. What do you think that we could do during these times in the future to attract more people to hospitality? As someone
So,
that's worked in many
mm,
different elements in hospitality, what can we
so
do to say, hey, we're here?
we're still here, even though everything's closed, that sort of thing, to still think about whether they'd like to work in an
Yeah,
industry, right? I think doing things like this actually that you're doing is a huge boost, really, to because this industry is going to come fighting back. Of course it will. There's too many of us that love it, and it's you don't have to work in this industry to love it, you know.
yeah,
Everyone loves a pub. There's your first point,
indeed.
you know. And I think most people love a music festival, so hopefully, in some way or another, in some format, we'll be able to do that once again. I think continuing things like this would be great to get people involved. You know, I've got a lot of friends doing cocktail masterclasses and making drinks from home, doing kitchen cocktails and things like that. And I think that in itself is really making the cocktails accessible to show people that you
Mm,
can make these from home. This is fun, and you know, people can start learning at home. Like, hey, think about if you applied for that cocktail bar that you really like, but you've already learned all the cocktail specs before you go in. This is your time to do it. You
yeah, I
know, I think
like
things
that.
like that. I think, you know, we are going to come back. So let's think about how you're going to get a job in there. So if you're interested in working in a cocktail bar, learn the cocktails now. Get your skills going now.
Maybe we could get you to do a couple of little
Ooh,
show
well,
us, as we say. Um, so I think during this time as well, mental health is obviously, is always an important topic, but kind of just going back to coronavirus and on lockdown, what are your views on how on how mental health is at the moment in terms of what can we do to
Yeah.
ensure that everyone's okay. And like we mentioned beforehand, to pick up the phone, but I think it's
Yeah.
sometimes on a bit more of a broader scale. So, you know, have you got any tips or any advice?
Look, my first tip, because I applied this to myself last week, I had a bit of a down week last week. My first top tip is stop watching Netflix every 24 every hour of every day, okay? I think read a book. That actually really helped me last week. I bought a couple of books, smashed out one of them, started the second one. I think when you're so insular, I think it really wreaks havoc on your own mindset, and that's purely from my own personal, but you know, sort of struggle last week of having a little bit of a down week. I was like, what can I change? I can turn off Netflix for one, great. Pick up a book, and I sat in the conservatory as opposed to sitting in my room, because you sleep there and that you should get out of there, because if you were
Yeah,
at work, you wouldn't be in that room during the daytime. So it's now like certain boundaries I've sort of set myself of what I could be doing better to help my own head, you know. I think getting outside, while the weather's so good just now, so I think getting outside's a really big one. Whether,
yeah.
even if you're not that fit, just go out for a walk, or just go sit, you know, if you don't have a garden, go for a walk and just go sit in a park or something. Obviously one that's not very populated and socially distant, please.
Indeed, indeed.
So yeah, a little bit of exercise, a little bit of less Netflix. And the thing is, you know, we don't all need to come out of this learning a new language and I've read 20 books. You know, don't compare yourself to other people, because I can guarantee you that that person that's saying that they're doing X, Y, and Z is probably not doing that all the time.
Yeah, me for one of them, I think sometimes. So hospitality, there are many myths about kind of crazy long hours, rubbish pay, and you know, it's known as a failed job. You know, there's so many myths. What's your fight back against that?
Fight back
On
against those myths. Okay. So crazy hours is crazy hours, guys. That's not a myth. It's true. It's crazy hours, but the thing is, you will be so in love with your job that you end up doing the crazy hours. And even if you're not, if you're having a down day, you do it because you have to, because other people are relying on you to bring them hospitality. So you get a bit of a buzz from it, and it teaches you your best bits and your worst bits as well doing it. But the
yeah.
long hours, that's not a myth. It really is long hours. Suck it up. You'll learn more about yourself by doing it.
Very true.
Did you say rubbish pay is one of them?
Yeah, so just over the years is like rubbish pay. You know, it's I think as well a lot of people have gone down the route of, you know, get a proper job. What you're doing behind a bar,
Yeah,
get
I
a proper
hate really, really, I've never really liked that when people say that, you know, it is a proper job. And I think, look, it isn't a myth, because I think when you start in hospitality, I don't think the pay is great when you start. Um, but you really do see yourself go up the ladder quite quickly if you apply yourself. And I think if you put yourself in the right roles and you work
job.
hard, um, there is opportunity for good pay in hospitality, 100%. But my gosh, when I started, I was on minimum wage when I started as a sales executive,
Yeah,
but you know, within like 3 months, I was a sales manager on a salary. So if you put your head down and work hard and, you know, make the right choices, and it's with anything, work hard and you'll be rewarded, I
yeah,
think, you know.
yeah. And maybe you too can also be working in festivals around the world. Or I bet you
What
can't
was
wait to
the
get back
last
to
myth?
it. That it's a failed job, which I think we pretty much
Oh,
just
that's it, we
spoke
covered.
about. Yeah,
Absolutely not.
yeah,
Absolutely not.
no.
I mean, no, not at all.
Fab. And I'm just going to throw a random question or two at you. So, what is your favorite cocktail to make, and what's your favorite cocktail to drink?
Oh, favorite cocktail to make, favorite cocktail to drink, favorite cocktail to make. Oh, right. Favorite cocktail to drink. I had one on Saturday, and I made one for my dad. I've taught him how to make it as well. So it's really simple, old fashioned. I
Nice.
love it. It's great. I don't always do it with whiskey. I quite like a rum old fashioned. Big fan of rum old fashions. Oh, sexy. Which I have on this evening actually, have inspired me. And then to make, do you know what? I actually just love making cocktails, to be honest. But to make, I'm actually bringing my dad in as an example for this. I taught my dad to make a couple of classics, and I have been experimenting with getting rid of egg white and using aquafaba instead to make the cocktails vegan. Okay. So
Oh.
aquafaba, if you don't know, is the water, which is actually, it sounds gross, it's the water within a can of chickpeas. It doesn't make your cocktail taste like chickpeas, I promise you. It gives you that really nice froth on the top. So I taught my dad to make just some simple drinks. I taught him how to make a clover club, and it was actually, that was just a really fun experience of actually. I mean, my dad's in his late 60s and getting
Brilliant.
absolutely loved it. So yeah, so that's the one of late. But I can tell you my I think most hated cocktail to make because it takes so long, and when you're in a bar that's far deep, 5 deep,
Yeah.
someone asks you for 8 mojitos and the bar's five
Oh,
deep. No, yes, I'd love to. So I
get muddling.
love a mojito, but I don't like getting an order for 10 of them when there's a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Especially back in the days when it used to be like 2 for 1.
I know.
Fab. And I think what we'll do is end up, as you said, you watched a lot of Netflix to start. Have you got any
Yeah.
top Netflix series or movies to
Netflix
watch?
series. I do. I mean, as I said, I've watched too much. So I'll give you my top three, which I have completed all of them. I'm going to recommend Unorthodox.
Hmm.
Um, Incredible. It's by Unorthodox Jews. The acting is sensational. The lead actress is honestly incredible. Unorthodox. Second one would be Ozark, a little bit darker one there. And then third one, a little bit fun. I am so into RuPaul's Drag Race. I
Brilliant.
love it.
That's quite the collection you've got there.
Very different.
Amazing. Oh, Tash, it's been so lovely. Thank you for sharing your
Brilliant.
highlights. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, always welcome. And cheers, everyone. Until the next time.
Bye.
Bye.